Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Iconic Dollcast. My name is Sage, your host. Welcome back to another episode all about dolls. Today, I am talking with a super cool doll collector named Mick, and Mick runs the Instagram account Dolls Made Me Do It, and actually designed his own doll stand, which is super neat. So this is going to be a really fun one for all of you, I think. Before that, really quickly, I missed out on a doll released in my last check-in episode, and I think I'll probably have more to say about it in the next one, but I forgot to mention the Snow White live action movie is coming out, and the doll and merch rollout has been pretty strange and weak in my opinion, and so is overall the marketing for this movie. I feel like there is some drama going on behind the scenes that I need to research, but we do have just a few dolls coming out from that movie, both by Disney and Mattel. Maybe I've just missed it, but the dolls I've seen are, I guess, what we would call, they're more collector dolls with higher price ranges, and I haven't seen anything about Playline dolls, which is very, very different from the live action Little Mermaid movie. We can all remember what a merch push there was for that film, and I don't really know what's going on with that, but I know a lot of people are curious, so just know I'm looking into it, and I'll probably have more to say in my next mini doll check-in episode. Anyway, today's pretty much all about doll collecting. I really wanted to focus on doing more episodes about other collectors, their journeys, and content creating this season because I truly love getting to know all my guests, and Mick was so much fun. We have so much in common, and like I said, Mick made his own doll stand, which is really cool, and we're going to talk about a lot in this interview, so we're going to get right into it. As always, please follow me on Instagram at iconicdollcast or Britney Spears Custom Dolls. You can follow me on YouTube at iconicdollcast or TikTok at Britney Spears Dolls, and here is my interview with Mick, all about doll collecting and so much more. All right, everyone. Today I have Mick on the show, and we're going to talk all about Barbies and doll collecting and growing up with dolls and so much more. Mick, thank you so much for being on the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much for having me. I've been excited to have this chat with you, so happy that we're getting together to do this.
Yay, I'm so excited. So before we get into all things dolls, because that's what we're here for, give me a little background on yourself. What do you do? How'd you get involved in doll world? All the cool things.
Okay, so I grew up really in a collector headspace because of my dad. So I've always been, I guess, around that mentality of collecting and dolls from a very, very early age. I'm in visual merchandising, so I'm a very creative person. So I'm lucky to do something I really enjoy for work. And then I am lucky to have the hobby of doll collecting and doll styling, which is another extension of my creativity. So it's something that I'm always surrounded by. And yeah, I just grew up with a dad who was a collector, mostly like sports cards and comic books and a different genre of things. But from a very early age, I was sort of always around that headspace, like seeing him, like, keep things super, like plastify his comics and keep things organized and safe. And, not so much about the value of things, but just so much of it being more of something to look at versus play with and use. Mind you, I wish I had done that with my Barbies when I was a kid, and I wish I had taken more care of the ones I had grown up. But yeah, I was just introduced that to a very early age, and now I'm a collector now. So ever since I think I can remember, I don't really know. I've collected some crazy things over the years. Like it's not always been dolls because like I took a break from dolls, and I think a lot of people will relate to that, where we kind of like.
Yep.
Get out of that space a little bit. And then there was just so many other things. I'm someone who really invests into purchasing things of either a show or a genre that I really loved. Like when I'm invested in the characters and I really like to collect the things about it, it just makes it feel a little bit more special. So like over the last couple of decades, yeah, there's been so many things I've collected. So yeah, it's just always been something I've been around.
I love that. I too, like, if I get really into a character, it's like I have to have all the things of that character. Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
Yes. And so it's safe to assume you were allowed to play with dolls as a kid. No issues there.
Well, no. So it started off a little rocky, actually, with my dad, surprisingly. I mean, as he was a collector, but when the whole Barbie conversation happened with my mom, so I have an older sister and she had dolls. She's about 4 years older than me. So I was exposed to them very early on. And it's so hard to remember exactly what it was, but I just was so fascinated by them and I just gravitated towards the dolls all the time. And it got to the point where I don't remember wanting my own, but I guess my mom tells me the story. She's like, you could tell that you really wanted your own dolls because every Christmas morning I'd like open up my gifts and I just would want my sister's dolls and like I have videos and photos of that and I was just really you could just tell I needed my own and my dad was really against it at the beginning to have me have my own dolls. But then with some convincing, my mom and my aunt actually who gifted me my first doll, I would say, convinced him. So Christmas of 91 is when I got my first Barbie. And it was the holiday Barbie. So I was like 3 years old. 388. Yeah, I was 3 years old when I got my first doll. So it took him a little while, but then he saw, I guess, how happy I was. And then it was a very open space after that,
Okay.
especially in the household. And he was actually a huge part of my collecting, as a kid, where he actually contributed to a lot of the dolls that I got. And it was himself like gifting them to me or surprising me with them. Whereas at the beginning, he was really against it. So I think with time, he just saw that it made me happy and it didn't really matter what the object was. So I'm really grateful for that because I think it would have been a really challenging childhood to not have had that open space to be with my Barbies. Like they were such a huge part of growing up that I couldn't imagine looking back and not having that to play with.
That's great. I mean, obviously, even though it started off rocky, that's great that your dad was able to kind of evolve with the with the circumstance, and I love that. Not everyone is as lucky as you or I, where I mean, eventually for you, being able to play with dolls was always okay for me, and my grandparents who raised me really kind of provided for that, and there was no issue there. But I know that a lot of people were totally blocked from especially men playing with dolls when they were a little kid, which is really sad. So I feel very fortunate to be, to have grown up in that kind of situation. It sounds like that was kind of the same for you as well. Cause I too, like, I don't know what my life would be right now if I didn't grow up playing with Barbies. I'm going to ask you kind of a loaded question here. Why are dolls or Barbies so special to you?
I mean, as a kid, they just allowed me to have this space to be very creative and imaginative. Like I went wild when I would play with dolls. Like I would for example, I was really into Buffy, let's say, or Charmed, like growing up. So I would build like my Barbie's houses, but then have like whole scenarios where they would be like, witches or something, and then like really take apart the whole house in a fight scene or something. But like just so much build up, like building like shopping areas, using like cardboard paper to build like wallpaper for like to pretend like that wall was an actual shop or something. Like it's just so much, and it was it really just allowed me because I didn't feel I could do that outside of my house, really. And I was always, it's funny, like I was fortunate to be able to play with dolls, but outside of that, I was always terrified and I just never felt like it was really a secret within my own household, I would say. Like I was, and no one ever told me like you weren't allowed to do it, but I just felt like I sort of knew something was off about it, like very young. So to like spend my whole day out and then come back to that was like where I felt just very comfortable in myself. So I always looked forward to that. And that's why I remember it being so important to me. And then as an adult, it really just, I feel like I took my power back, having Barbie and just collecting and I love styling my dolls a lot of times. I mean, I do a lot of things with my dolls, but one of the things I love the most is styling them. And it just allows me to have this creative freedom and whatever I'm feeling and different things that I'm into at the moment, I can kind of, portray through my dolls and my photos. So she just means a lot. I know it sounds silly, but like dolls in general, but Barbie specifically, like there's just like I could just look at her sometimes, like different dolls in my collection that I love, and I'm just like I just feel really good. Like I don't know how to explain it. Just like this warm feeling, like she's just there. I feel sort of like safe when she's around. I know it's so strange, but
Well, it's
yeah,
not strange
she's
at all. That's basically
yeah. I know.
that's
I
what this show is all about. And I think when you say it was like kind of kept in your household, like you weren't bringing your Barbies to school, is that kind of what you're saying,
yeah.
basically?
So exactly. And the one time I felt like I got away with it was because we had this. I feel like it was a science fair or show and tell like slash science fair. And I remember we all had like a topic, and I had the Titanic for some reason. I don't know what it was about, but we had to do some research. I mean, it was like grade 4 or 5. And I was able to get like a cardboard cutout of the ship, like that Blockbuster had. It was like a front of it. And then I was like, okay, well, this is my time where I can actually bring dolls on the ship to make it look like there's people on it. So it was like the one time I felt like no one would have said anything because I had these like props, but it wasn't like, oh, you're playing with dolls. It was like it was part of the science project. So and I was so excited to do that, but also I knew that was the only way I can get it done without it being called out in a weird way. So that was the one time I remember bringing dolls, and like, they were Spice Girl dolls dressed in like ball gowns. But I was like so excited to incorporate like not only dolls but the Spice Girls, which I'm obsessed with, and I know you are too. So I was like the happiest, and that was the one time I felt comfortable bringing them. But yes, aside from that, no, I did not bring dolls anywhere else outside of my home.
I've actually heard of people doing that before with past guests. Like, oh, well, the way I got around this was I had a school project and I needed some Barbies for it, but really I just wanted the
Yeah.
Barbies. And yes, I do love the Spice Girls. So, were you a big? Do you have a bunch of Spice Girl dolls?
Huge Spice Girls fan. I mean, I really had them all growing up. Sadly, I don't have a lot of the originals, but I did build up my collection over the years to get back the ones that I love. Yeah, those were a huge part of like I've always loved Barbie, but then and I think similar to you with Britney Spears, it was like that shift where these dolls were everything. I love them. And I know a lot of people, or not a lot of people, but the opinion sometimes like they don't look the greatest or they don't look like them. I think they look amazing. Like, I'm sorry, but they look great. Costume, I feel like the sculpts sort of captured their likeness. I don't know. I was always in love with them, and I think they were great celebrity dolls. And yeah, I do love them very much.
For the Spice Girls specifically, I know they get a lot of hate on their face molds, but here's the thing, like I've talked about this on the show. It's been a while since I've mentioned this, but I do feel like sometimes when they get too real looking, it kind of freaks me out. And that's not to knock on anyone who does any kind of repainting or anything. That's an art in itself. Just my personal preference though, I feel like the Spice Girls maybe don't necessarily look so much like them, but like you said, I think the sculpts capture their personalities really well. So it's like you can find, a Scary Spice doll in the thrift store. She has no clothes on. She's a total mess, and you're gonna know exactly who she is. You know what I mean? It's just they
Exactly.
captured the personalities really well. And with the Britney doll, I don't care what anyone says. I think that doll looks exactly like her. So
I agree. And I had one Britney doll actually growing up. I mean, I really loved Britney, but I got into Britney, I would say, with the In the Zone era of like really enjoying her music and really getting into her. And I feel like her dolls weren't, well, myself either. I wasn't really collecting at that moment dolls. But I know I had one Britney doll, and I don't know if you'll correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like she was the Born to Make You Happy video. It was like a silver like top and like
short hair.
bell bottom trouser, short hair. And
Yep.
I think I got her at Costco. I don't remember where I got her, but I love that doll. And it was like my only Britney doll, but I felt like I don't even know why I didn't get more Britney dolls because I really loved that one that I had. But it was short lived, unfortunately. But I find so many of them amazing. So.
I love that. And my next question was going to say, what types of dolls do you mainly collect? So we're going to go with Barbie. You've got Spice Girls. What else?
So right now, I currently have yeah Barbie, Spice Girls, Integrity toys. I'm selective on, but I do have those in my collection. And then I do have Bratz as well. And then recently, I got introduced to Lika, which is like a Japanese
Hmm.
equivalent of I guess Barbie, and she's been a huge part of my collection recently that I've been slowly adding to my displays and just to what I collect. And I'm loving her a lot. And I've had other dolls in the past for sure. Like I think I got into all the like doll crazes, I would say. I mean, I can name, I don't know, like a dozen different doll brands that I've collected fully and then just let go because I felt like I really wanted to, or I felt like the ones that always were meant to stay in my collection were really Barbie. And I mean, the Spice Girls are not displayed necessarily, but they're in a different setup. But, they're always going to be staples. Like, I will never get rid of them. So yeah, currently that's what I would say I was collecting most. Barbie, definitely, Lika Chan and Integrity Toys when I
Amazing.
can, because, those,
Are they
yeah, I was
expensive?
going to say those are a little price. Yeah, they're super pricey. And
Uh,
it's not, yeah, it doesn't get so cute anymore when you want to get all of them. And
oh, I could relate. I can relate. So when it comes to Barbie, because let's just say Barbie is your number one, which like She's everyone's number one. Let's be real. What Barbie era resonates with you the most?
So definitely the 90s, but I would say not like the early 90s with like bold colors and geometric prints, really the like mid 90s. I think when Fashion Avenue started, like 95, 96, is when to me Barbie was the most memorable, and what I strive to collect nowadays is really that era of Barbie. Like there were some dolls from 92, 93 that I just remember from childhood that I love, but the ones that as an adult that I get excited to collect now are really that mid 90s to early 2000s. I guess because I remember them more too. I mean, I'm 36, so I don't know, like maybe 4 or 5 in the early 90s. So I don't have so many memories as I did later on. So those are the ones that are most special to me and the ones that I collect the most.
I love 90s Barbie. 90s Barbie is my
Yeah.
jam, but I like the really cheesy ones like Working Out Barbie and the
Yeah.
hula hair
I
Barbie.
mean, they're all amazing. Hula hair, I have that commercial jingle in my head still, I think, from the 90s. There's some commercials that just have stayed with me, and that one I will just, sometimes just to cheer myself up, I watch Barbie commercials from the 90s just
Hell
because
yeah.
they had great jingles, and I'm like, I need to like just smile right now. So I'm going to watch Barbie commercials for a little bit.
I'm trying to, it's what is it? Hula hula in the poola.
Well, so there was two of them, and it was like hula hair, Barbie, long Hawaiian hair, and it was just so good. I love that commercial, and those dolls are amazing. I'm like a massive Teresa fan, so
Oh,
any doll line that had a Teresa, like had to have even more now as an adult because I could choose the ones like when I was a kid, I didn't always choose the dolls I got. Like I was gifted dolls and I was just happy, but I didn't have the same power that I have now to be like, this is the one I'm gonna get. And I love Teresa. Like, yeah, massive Teresa fan. So that hula hair Teresa is in my collection, and I love her. She's one of my favorites.
she's gorgeous. I love the jewel hair mermaid Teresa. I
Mm,
love working out Teresa. Where is she? She's
mm.
back here somewhere. Yeah, Teresa's an icon, and I think I hope she's something. I know that they brought her face mold back this year for the holiday Barbie, which is exciting.
So exciting.
Did you buy it?
I did.
Me too. Me too.
Any Teresa now, even the modern ones, they've like snuck her in every now and then, and I get super excited to see her. So I'll pick her up just because she still has that charm of the '90s, even though she has a modern, take on it. She's still super beautiful. So yeah.
Yeah, I love Teresa too. Do you have a favorite Barbie in your entire collection?
So if I had to like pack something and run due to an emergency, it would probably be my Moschino AA here.
Oh,
He's definitely one of my favorites. I mean, I enjoy both, but that one is really special to me. And then like favorites that I can think of, I would say Earring Magic Barbie. I mean, the ones that are displayed here are the ones not for any reason specific. I just for me like that was really my childhood. Like Earring Magic Barbie, I just remember so vividly, and I loved the outfit. I loved that the line came with like a couple of variants, like a brunette, and Mitch was in there, so that was a really amazing line. And then she's not like the most exciting, but Camp Barbie from I think '93
oh yeah.
is, and I'm not like a camper or anything, but I loved her. I think because I was actually very sick when I was like in that moment I got her, and my dad surprised me. Like when I woke up, she was like next to my bed, and
Oh,
I just remember getting her, and and I just always loved that Barbie, and I took her everywhere because she was like a camp Barbie. She had like a little sleeping bag, and she had little combat boots. So I felt like it was, and when I mean took her everywhere, like literally around my house and my backyard. But I mean, like she was the doll I would take outside and just sort of be a little bit more outdoorsy with. But yeah, those are a couple of my favorites. Like they're really all the '90s, and the Mosquito isn't '90s, but like as a modern day Barbie, she's just aesthetically beautiful. And I think she captures like that Barbie magic from the '90s, like just the face mold that they use and the pink and all of that. So yeah, those are some of my favorites, but there's a lot. So it's really
of
hard
course. Of
to choose,
course.
but
I always tell people like, "Oh, I love totally hair Barbie," but like truly if I had to grab some stuff and run, I'd be like shoveling them all into a bucket. Like, let's be real.
yeah, they're back there too. Well, they're in the fashion packs, but they're some of my favorites as well. They're so
I love Barbies
uh,
with long hair. I don't know. I don't know how that happened, but
same,
like
same.
always as a kid loved them and had to get like so many. My first Barbie ever was glitter hair Barbie. And it was the brunette one. And I always call like the brunette Barbie Teresa and I always call the AA Barbies Christy. Like it's just how I just think because they use the same face mold. So it's like, I don't know.
I was the same, and I remember getting called out once on a review. So, like, I used to do like YouTube reviews of dolls, and someone called me out because I mistakenly called the brunette Barbie Teresa. Because same as you, like for me that was, and I was like, oh shit! I'm like, I didn't even know that. To me, she was Teresa. But then I looked at it, I'm like, well, they're actually right. But it was just like, who gives a fuck? Like, I mean,
She's
to
Teresa
me,
to me.
yeah, same. But I totally understand that.
Yeah. What do you feel is the most challenging about being a doll collector as an adult?
For me, right now, I think it's the FOMO, I guess, or feeling like I don't want to miss out on certain things and I just want to get them, but then realizing that it's really challenging to keep up with that. And not even, I mean, take away the financial aspect because even if you had all the means to do it, it's more so it starts getting overwhelming. Like I do find myself at times loving my collection, but sometimes I'm like, whoa, I'm like, I just feel like there's just too much. And the amount of it does give me a little bit of like anxiety where I have to clean through like my collection a little bit. And it just, really curate it a little bit more. But then when new things start coming out, you're like, oh my God, like this is amazing. And I get excited about this. And then I'm pretty bad, I guess, at building like scenarios in my mind too. Like, oh my God, that doll's perfect because I can use that jacket to style it with this. But then I'm like, I'm buying like $100 doll because I could see myself doing something with it. But you know what I mean? So it kind of like, I'll always find a reason why it would make sense to have the dolls. But then it does add up. And then you start also feeling like, oh my God, if I don't get it, like I'm going to miss out. So that creates a bit of stress. So I think that's what's the most challenging now because I mean, as an adult, I did go through the phase of doll collecting and sharing it with the world, which was, I think, the most challenging at that time, especially when I just started out being more aware that this was going to be something that was going to be part of my life, like moving forward. It wasn't just one doll I had as a kid that I, kept under my bed. It was really something that I was actively doing. So sharing that with people was, I think, the hardest thing at that time. But now that I'm comfortable and I'm like, I've assumed sort of my doll collector in me. I think that's the other challenge is really just balancing the needs and the wants and the space and sort of not letting the FOMO get to you and make decisions that are sometimes not necessarily what you would want to do, but just because you feel like if you don't, you're going to regret it.
100%. And what sucks about being a doll collector is that the industry kind of has conditioned us to believe like if we don't get it now, we can't get it later, and then we're all out rushing to get things and things sell out so fast so that you, like you said, you feel like you have to get it or you might not. And that's unfortunate because there's so many dolls that come out every single week, and I find myself also having to be like, okay, I don't need that one. If I see it, I'll get it, but like, let's not freak ourselves out. I did, fall for that whole the Midge doll that came out.
Did you
I
find her?
I did. I
Oh,
did.
so happy for you. Good. I'm in Canada, so I have zero chance.
Oh, you're in Canada.
Yeah, I'm in Montreal, so there's no chance. Like, I'm not even. I have had to hold myself back from clicking eBay prices because I'm like, I'm not going to do it.
Oh,
But I almost did it at least a dozen times because I'm like, I could just tell there was no chance I'd get her. And I didn't see, and I think they announced it like a couple of days ago that it would be like a US only release. So I'm like, that would probably be my only option. But I'm so happy you found her, so that's exciting.
well, let me tell you something. So I went to 12 Targets to get her, and I didn't get her that day, which is fine. I love going out and hunting for dolls. It's all good.
Same.
And I just happened to leave my phone number with the Target, and they called me the next day. But I'm going to tell you right now, it's like not worth it. Like if it's worth it if you can get it for $20. Okay, that's
Right.
cool.
Yeah, I
But
know.
it's not. She's nothing. She's great, but she's not that great. Like, and scalpers will fuck you over. And it's just like, this. And it's like, that's something that I've really had to turn my mind around on where it's like, okay, and it happened when I got this Midge doll. I was like, okay, this doll is really cool, but like I would never pay more than $50 for this ever. And people, as you know, scalpers go crazy and they charge and people will pay it.
Hmm.
So, but I'm telling you, it's not worth it.
Thank you. I feel better now because I I almost got a couple times, and with the conversion and the shipping, it was going to be about 280 Canadian dollars for that. And I was like, okay, this is nuts. And like I was proud of myself to not have gotten, because I'm a huge, like, Teresa's my number one girl, but like a Steffi face mold, especially like a midge version, forget it. Like it was really hard. I almost, so I'm really close to the Plattsburgh part of the US. Like the border is super close. So I was like, I could just drive down. But then I'm like, the odds of that one small town Target having it, and I was like, do I really want to like invest all this time right now? I didn't. And then the only other option was like this online thing, but then I didn't do that either. So thank you for kind of, I mean, I got to enjoy her through so many people's like Instagram pages and photos. So I'm like, okay, she's okay. And if I end up finding her, or the craze calms down a bit and something comes up where she's not like $300, then maybe I'll treat myself. But
And it's hard. Like that's hard because I totally understand where it's like, oh, but I want it so bad. But and I'm sure there are some dolls, that are worth that kind of price. But for me, when I got her, I was like, oh, this is great, but it's nothing that I would be paying these outrageous prices for, you know? And
mhm.
I also too like just am trying to train my brain to think that way. Like I the other day was at Target, and Target is like doing like in the last few years they have like a deal with the Disney store because Disney store's closed, and so they had one of those deluxe like doll sets, and it had of the Little Mermaid, and it had the new King Triton in it. And I was like, oh my God, I really want this. But it was like $99. And I was like, that's the only doll in it that I want. I had it, I was ready. And then just at the last minute before I checked out, I was like, no, I'm not getting this. I'm not getting it. So I put it back. And then like 4 days later, I saw it again at Target, and it was 50% off.
Oh my gosh,
So I was
amazing.
like, oh, I'm so glad I did that. Okay, cool. But, you just, as doll collectors, I think we all have to kind of learn. Especially, I think what I'm trying to say is FOMO is a huge thing in the dog collecting community, and I think sometimes it screws us over a little more than it should. You know what I mean?
I agree. And I'm getting better at being aware of it, because sometimes it's less about if like can I it's not about like affording it or not. It's just more about, is this the right thing? And then I don't want to feel that guilt after, or that frustration. Or sometimes I've done those impulsive buys, and I'm like, actually this wasn't worth it. And I'm like, I need to learn, like I need to go back to that headspace where I remembered feeling like it wasn't worth it. And like especially with this like midge, for example. And it was like, I know I've done this before, and it wasn't what I was gonna hope it was gonna be. So I'm like, I felt comfortable after just letting it pass by. But it's crazy like how a good face, because that, like, listen, I'm very picky with modern day Barbie. Like I'm not gonna trash what they're putting out, but it's not my favorite. Like I'm very selective. Like, and like I really gotta like not convince myself, but like, if I find a piece or something I can maybe style that I really like, that's cool. But like really, it's not something like I'll get super excited about. And those like deluxe style dolls are okay, but they're not something I would have purchased. But just the one, like just a change of the doll face, because that outfit is whatever, it's fine. But like it's just the doll makes everything so different. And I just wish sometimes Mattel would like listen to the feedback, or sort of feel that like, wow, like some of these sculpts, yes, they're older, but like people resonate with them still, and people were losing their minds over this space doll. So
I think they're testing that out a little bit. So I'm anxious to see what happens, but I do think we're going to see a lot more of the vintage molds come back,
I would
because
love that.
it's like it's proven right now that adults are buying toys more than kids. So it's like I think they're really. I think this Midge doll. I think them throwing those older face molds into the holiday Barbie was a tryout, and then they put out this Midge doll. Obviously, there was huge reactions to that. I think we're going to see a lot more of that in the future for sure. Um, a couple minutes ago, you mentioned something about kind of like content creating and how kind of frustrating and stressful that can be. And this is actually something I have not talked about on the show yet. So I'm glad it came up because I want to tell you. So I think we talked before this. You asked if we were doing a video podcast or an audio podcast. And obviously I'm interviewing you on video, but every once in a while I'll do a video episode, and I absolutely hate it because like I'm sorry, like when did podcasts become video thing? I thought the whole idea when I started this was like it's just a podcast, you just listen to it, you know? So I don't know how that has all twisted, but I hate being on camera. And another thing that really like kills the joy for me is content creating. Not when it comes to like my Britney Spears dolls or whatever, that's fine because that's their purpose. But like I can't tell you how many dolls I've bought with the intention of doing like an unboxing video, and I just can't do it because it totally kills the joy for me. I don't like filming myself. I don't like being on camera. I don't like having to act like I am shocked or excited or whatever. It just ruins it. So literally every single time I try to do an unboxing, I just stop it and then I unbox it without filming it because
Mm.
it kills the vibe for me. I don't know if you can relate to that, but for me at least, a lot of people ask me why I don't do more video content. It's literally just because I don't like it.
I mean, I can totally relate. I started off before having Instagram. I started a YouTube channel with my best friend Mike, and we had a reviewing channel like a little while ago. And it started off amazing. Like it was just fun because we just literally did what we felt like doing and we just had unboxings and it was really what we were collecting genuinely. But then obviously you start getting more aware of how that platform works or how that business side of it works a little bit and you want to the views and the monetization. Then you start seeing like you have to have like the newest thing and you have to be the first to review it, and then it started getting really challenging to feel the fun of unboxing things. So I totally agree with you. At one point it was like we had piles of things and I was like, I actually don't even want to unbox this right now because it's not something I would have bought for my own collection. I just feel like we are buying things because we're like, this is going to make a great video. So then we kind of reverted back to just doing what we felt like doing, and it was so much funner. And then that channel like took a little turn only because COVID happened, and then we weren't able to like in person for a while. And then sort of branched off a little bit on my own thing, and then I got into more of like a photography aspect of it. And I do get a lot of questions asking why I don't do YouTube anymore or unboxings, and I think what you said was really spot on. It just felt I didn't feel the joy of doing it as much because it wasn't organic, or sometimes the things I felt like I should have reviewed weren't things I wanted to buy or have. So I just started like gravitating towards things that I love doing. So like my photography or my Instagram is really a space that I can just put out what I feel like putting out, and it's really just what I'm feeling at the moment. I mean, that is still a challenge in itself because
Oh yeah.
sometimes with a full like I know I've heard in a past podcast that you also have like a full-time job. So like we do all of these things when we can, like after our full-time work.
Right.
And it's so hard to schedule creative time. Like I can't schedule, okay, Saturday I'm off work. So from 8 to 5, I'm gonna be creative and do my social media. Like it's easy to like put it out there, but like you sometimes just don't have like you don't feel like it doesn't come as naturally. You could schedule it, but it's so hard to schedule creativity, I feel. And then there's stress in not getting the content out or not getting what you felt to put out. And like so yeah, it's a balance. Like sometimes I have to really just remind myself that I have to do this for fun. And I have and if I come up at 11 o'clock at night, even if I work the next day and I have this like spark of creativity where like sometimes I'll just see like a doll and or an item that's just been out from another day, and I'm like, oh, that would be really nice matched with something else I've looked at like a week before, and then an outfit starts coming together like in a styling perspective, and I'm like, oh, that's amazing. So like I'll do it, and if it comes at on a Tuesday night at 11 o'clock, well then that's when it happens, and it feels organic, and that's when I feel like the reception is positive to you because you could just feel it when it's something that is creatively natural. It's not something that's forced or just put out because you're trying to get that reaction or those likes and all that. So it's an ongoing challenge. I'm not going to say it's always the funnest, but when you kind of catch yourself back and be like, remind yourself why you want to do this and that you're in control of your own content.
That's what
Yeah.
adds the genuineness to it, you know what I mean? And this has slowly become like probably the number one thing that we talk about here on the show is that there is, like you said, like I'm not feeling like if I'm not feeling it, I'm not gonna make a video for it. And I know a lot of people like to do everything they can so they can get brand deals or whatever, but I am not the type of person who's gonna get some doll sent to me that I think looks like shit and I'm gonna review it and pretend like I like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not.
I cannot do that. Like I cannot lie like that. And that is where it's kind of like a trap. I think YouTube especially is kind of like a trap because it's like there's a lot of, amazing content creators out there who do things that is just, you can tell that it's totally them. It's totally genuine. Like you can feel that. But then there's also a lot of people. And I think with doll collecting, this has become a big thing where I mean, I don't know, just as someone who's collected dolls all my life, I can literally tell who is real and who is not. And I feel like a lot of people get on YouTube and they find a little bit of success after a while, they start to lose that, like the real reason why they were doing anything, because it just becomes all about clicks and likes and follows and all that stuff. And it's like, I don't know. I feel like sometimes creators like that don't realize that it's so obvious, like why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah, and I don't know how sustainable it is long term to
Not.
continuously feed like a channel with videos with just always new product coming out. And I mean, some people can do it. I mean, when we started doing it, it was truly, I remembered how many hours I'd spend watching like other content creators and especially the male ones. And it was like before I was comfortable or even open about my doll collecting as an adult, it was that space where I felt like, oh, like someone else is like me in a sense where, they're an adult and they're collecting dolls and they're talking about it. And that was kind of like what I wanted to provide when we started our YouTube channel. And it was more so like another person that can share that experience with them and say, hey, like we're doing this, and if you're doing it too, it's fun and you don't have to feel like uncomfortable about it. But when you took into like all those things in terms of what you wanted to review, and then like the pressures of getting all the right things at the right time, especially when it's not your full-time job, like if you can organize that and be really like a full-time content creator, it's fine. But like, I mean, maybe we took it too seriously too, because there's like calendars and we wanted to like fall in line with the seasons and the certain release things. At one point it started getting really a lot. So now, I mean, listen, I enjoy doing some of it. Like I'm terrible at TikTok. Like I'll throw a few videos out there and like, I mean, I know what kind of content would work. It's just I don't always push myself to doing it because I have to feel like it's something I like that would make sense or that I actually even have the time to do. But like, I'll throw a few videos out there. I do live sometimes on Instagram that I enjoy because it's less pressure. It's just more like if I just got something in the mail or like an unboxing, like I don't have to worry about the angles and the close-ups and making sure I don't forget that I didn't mention that this button, because honestly, some people too could be real assholes. Sorry for my language, but people in comments are not the nicest sometimes. So like, God forbid you forgot to show like the underneath of the shoe, and it's like, so that pressure too is not easy. It was like, oh my God, like we're just doing this for fun, like I'm just sharing my experience, but I'm not this professionally paid person to like demonstrate this product for you. So like, so
Right.
that too was a bit of a turn off when we were like in content creation. So now no one can tell. I mean, I'm in my room, I'm doing my own thing, and no one really. I mean, people can comment on photos, they can share what they like, what they don't like. I mean, luckily the space I have is pretty positive. Like people are either following me because they enjoy what they're seeing, and I mean, I wouldn't see why people would want to follow if they don't like the content I'm putting out. I would think they would just like, scroll ahead and move on. So, you
Yeah,
know.
well, people are, especially in doll world, like some people, it's both sides of the fence. Like some people are amazing and great, and it's wonderful. I wouldn't give it up for anything, but with that, you have to deal with, all the people with the negative comments. And I find that usually, generally, just because I don't do that, I don't do unboxings or anything, but I do see comments like that on people's stuff, and it's very clear like they're just pissed they didn't get that doll that's being reviewed, so it is
Hmm.
what it is. But I just wanted to talk about content creation because I think it gets, for me at least, it just I don't like to do it because I like to enjoy my moment opening my Barbie and not have to, like you said, worry about angles and all that stuff. It's just it takes the fun out of it for me at
It
least.
does. No, it does. 100%.
But more power to people who can do that. As long as they're being genuine, I see nothing wrong with it. Anyway, as for collecting, where do you find, as I guess you live in Canada, so I don't even know what it's like over there. Where are the best places? Where do you look for dolls? What are you like, where's the best places to find dolls when you're looking for dolls? What about that?
I mean, I really tend to shop on eBay because a lot of what I collect is either old or not really in store anymore. And for example, like Barbies, if I do want something like current, I will probably pop into the store to get it. But a lot of things are on like the Mattel creation websites, which is really frustrating because I'm the person that will line up 10 of the same doll if I have to like to look at what's going on and pick the
Right.
best one. So I do, and I've had it happen where you get something and then it's just it is what it is, right? So like online, like I avoid it as much as possible, but if it's the only option, then like I'll do it from there. And then unfortunately, we don't have many like doll shows in the area I live, we do have one in a city like a couple hour drive away from me. So I do participate to that doll show like twice a year as a vendor. But then that's also a really fun place. It's like a nice place to just kind of like get rid of some of your extra. Or I buy a lot of dolls sometimes to use pieces of them like for styling. So sometimes like I don't need the full thing, so I'll just make little baggies or whatever, and it's fun. Like it just allows other people to get things, and it's for me, I enjoy the community aspect of it because I don't have that here where I live. So I go there and kind of like, chat to people, and I do find some really great dolls there sometimes. So that's kind of where I enjoy finding them. And then especially that I collect more vintage or like older dolls that are not on like store shelves at the moment. And yeah, and then online, unfortunately, because that's kind of like where I can get most of what I need to get, especially in Canada. Like in general, we don't have many things released, even if it's newer stuff. A lot of things are really, really hard to get, and then you're like left with probably buying them on like from scalpers or eBay, which I don't like love to do. So I try to just keep it as local as possible, but it's really hard here. We don't have many things being released. So
Yeah, it is hard to get dolls online because you never know what. I mean, eBay actually, I would say is a better option because at least like for the most part, people are taking pictures of what you're buying and you can take a better look at it. But like ordering through Mattel Creations is always a risk because you don't know like what that there's screenings over at Mattel. Are not always great and you don't know, and sometimes they'll help you out and they'll do an exchange, but sometimes they won't. So it's like it's always kind of a risk buying especially when it's a more expensive doll that there is like a limited quantity on, because sometimes they'll be like, well, sorry, we don't have any
yeah,
left.
actually, in Canada, they don't offer exchanges. Period. So they just tell you
Damn.
we don't do that for like outside of the U.S. So they would like offer you some like little discount or something, but which is unfortunate because it's not a question about like wanting to pay less for the doll. You just want a good doll for what you paid for. You know what I mean? And then
Mm-hmm.
you're left with that, and they don't even offer. And then at the time, even if you wanted to buy another one and then maybe sell the one that you got originally, they're sold out. So like you're just kind of stuck at that point. So
Yeah.
it got dangerous where I was buying two of things just because I was scared of getting one that was wrong. But then I was like, it wasn't even to make money, but it was just like you're left with this inventory almost where you're like, what the fuck am I gonna do with all these dolls now? Like, yeah, I got to pick the one I wanted, but then like, so that got a little dangerous financially. So I stopped doing that because like I like that was like not good. Yeah.
I know a lot of people who buy too, and it's fine. And I also like sometimes if I see something, I mean, I do a lot of thrifting for my Britney dolls specifically because I'm not trying to spend a lot. I have a business to run. I have to make everything as affordable as possible so I can still make a profit. I mean, that's just how the world works. But every once in a while, I'll see something like in one of the newer Barbies, and I'm like, oh my God, that's perfect. I need to buy this. And then I'll do the same thing. I'll put them in little baggies and just like sell the rest of it that I don't need. And I try to be fair with that too, because I know other people can get a little crazy with what they're
Hmm.
charging for things. So it is what it is.
That's actually helped me with my collecting now is not keeping everything I've bought. Like I've learned to be able to really select what I needed and then quickly just let things go that I don't like, take pieces of things and just not like letting other things sit in bins. Or so that's helped a lot, keeping my collection sort of somewhat like manageable, not having excess things that I didn't need. So that's why like the doll shows are really fun. I'm actually trying to organize one in the city I live in because we live in like a really big city, and I find it strange that a smaller city are able to have these doll shows, and like the turnout is amazing. Like hundreds and hundreds of people will show up at these doll shows, and I'm like in this big city and like we don't have one. So I'm just trying to now, like, my goal this next couple of months is just to figure out like a space and just getting interest to see like, can we do this here, because I would love to just get more people together, and it's just a nice way to also see like different things because everyone has something different that they collect. And most of these people are not there to just sell, they're there to sell and buy because they're active collectors. So they may be getting rid of something that they don't want that would fit in perfectly with your collection. And I think that's what I love the in person. And I know the US have, maybe not all states, but a lot of places have great doll shows, and I'm
Oh
like, I
yeah.
always see them on social and I'm like, I wish I was there.
Yes, we have one here every year in April, and it's always so much fun because, like you said, it's just like, I mean, one, you're gonna. I always have a goal of things that I'm looking for, and I usually will find them at a doll show if it's a specific Barbie or whatever. But also, it's just so fun to be in a room full of people who are all interested in the same thing as you. It's just like cool. We're all digging through these bins right now, and no one cares.
Yeah.
you know but
Yeah.
you have like a product that you could sell, so I want you to talk to me and tell me about your doll stands.
Okay, yes. So that is something that I've been working on actually for, I would say it took about 2 years. When the original idea came to my mind and to the product launch, it was about 2 years that I have been working on this. I am a inbox collector and out of box collector. So I do both. And like as you can see, this is like a perfect example of what my display would look like. And eventually if I had like a bigger space, it would still be somewhat mixed. Like I don't do only one or the other. However, I had this thing where it was always challenging to find doll stands that were consistent and all the same. And then if I did find those that were, I was actually able to buy, I didn't really feel like aesthetically they were what I needed. Um, and I couldn't find what I wanted. And that's how it really started. The idea was like, okay, I know I love like the crystal clear base. I wanted something seamless, something that was not noticeable in the sense because I want it like yes, the product has to be beautiful, but like the highlight are the dolls. That's kind of what I want to showcase. But I want something nice to showcase them on, and that's where the idea started. And then I started looking at different manufacturers. Like I didn't even know where to start, to be honest. I was turned down by so many different places because like they didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. They're like, if you go to like an like acrylic sort of manufacturer, they only deal with acrylic, and then I needed steel because for the rod, and then steel places had no idea what the hell I was talking about either. And then I got really lucky and I fell on this manufacturer who actually I think understood what I was trying to do. So it took us about a year and a half of back and forth. Like I would send some samples because I've tried all the stands. Like I have gone from the plastic ones that you can get on like AliExpress, and the ones that clip at the legs, and the Kaiser stands that go around the waist. Like I tried all of them, and I'm not saying like any of them are bad. It's just they were like they all had something I didn't love about. Yet I couldn't find the one that I wanted to be like not perfect, but like suitable for my needs. So basically, yeah, we went back and forth with different samples, and then we tweaked measurements. Like it was really custom, like in terms of the scaling of it, and what I needed the stand to do was really worked on from scratch. And I was lucky to have someone I think that realized the end product. I don't want to use the word perfectly, but to what I needed it to be. And initially, it was meant just for me. Like that was the goal. It was like, okay, I just want to get something that I can get for my own collection. But there was a lot of interest in doll stands, and the manufacturer basically was like, well, we can only make like a minimum amount of so much. And I was like, oh damn, like that's like I don't have that many dolls. But I'm like, if this is the only way I can maybe push myself to do this, then like maybe others will be interested too. So I just kind of went in confident enough that the product was great because it was something I wanted for myself, and I knew that I was going to use them. So it was like if I do this now and it fails, then great, and if it doesn't, then this will be an opportunity for doll collectors to have a stand that's accessible to them. It is a premium doll stand, so I know like in terms of what's available on the market, there are like bulk like listings that you can buy many stands for a really great price. And I mean, like there's a consumer for everything, right? So I think if you
Yeah.
look at any type of product, you could purchase, a certain caliber of product and you can get a lot for your money, or you can buy just one of it, but the quality will be a lot higher. And you just got to pick and choose what's right for you. And I think I'm just able now to offer something that's different on the market. And, if the person is gravitating towards that type of product and is willing to spend a little bit more for less, but having a doll stand that's maybe just for that really special doll in their collection, I'm aware that coming in and resetting your whole entire doll collection of $300 with these stands might be crazy, and some people have been really generous and I'm assuming have purchased a lot because they want to do that. And if not, then some of them just come in to buy a couple and they're like, oh, I have this really, especially in person when I'm at the doll shows, I have like a little section of my area where it's just for the stand now. And like seeing people like interact with them and actually feel them and try them out. And they have their doll in their purse and like they test it out and they're like, oh, this is so cool. And they'll pick it up and they get one. And I'm like, that's amazing. Like if that one doll is important to you and you're able to showcase her on like a special stand, then amazing. And I think that's sort of what led to the business really because I initially started for like a passion project for myself, and due to like well, I wouldn't say a restriction, but like I wasn't able to really proceed with that many orders because I don't have that many dolls, so I said let's see what we can do with this, and I started looking at like marketing and branding. And I mean I have experience of that in my work, like, or my career anyhow, so I felt like I can utilize all those things that I do for others basically and apply it to myself. And that's where the stand tall kind of became a real product. And It's available, yeah, on the dollsmademedoit.com website, and you can purchase one, or you can purchase, a couple, depending on what your needs are, and it's just another option for collectors out there.
Well, and that's what we need as collectors is options. And like you said, like I mean, I'm sure everyone has one doll in their collection that they would love to display, and your stands are great. And what a great idea, and that's so cool. And I love that it was a passion project for yourself, and you turned it into something bigger, and that's amazing. That's how successful businesses work. So props to you on that.
Thank you, and props to you too. I mean, I've heard you speak of your business as well, and I've seen the art that you make, and it's really incredible to have taken something and just go with it, and just be confident with the work that you put out enough, and people will just gravitate towards it, and I think that's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. It's just fun for me, and that's how I try to keep it because I do have a full-time job and I just don't want it to ever turn into something that feels like work for me. And it so far it hasn't. We're going on 7 years of Britney Spears custom dolls. But
Wow.
it's just fun. And yeah, I try to keep everything unique and fun. And I think that is what people brings people in. And so same goes with your stands and your account. So Mick, thank you so much for chatting with me today. This was so much fun. I'm so glad I got to know you. Tell everyone, I mean, first of all, dollsmademedoit.com, that's where we can get the stands, right?
Yeah, so dollsmademedo.com is where the stands are available to purchase at. So you just head over to that website and take a look and see what you find.
And where else can people find you on the internet?
So my handles are Dolls Made Me Do It on TikTok and Instagram, and the website has the same handle as well.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, and we'll keep in touch.
Thank you so much, Sage.
Oh, that was so much fun. Thank you so much, Mick, for coming on the show. Please, everyone, make sure you check out and follow him. Check out his doll stands. They are super gorgeous. Also, I got to add in, if you guys are listening on YouTube, I have some mini episodes. I mentioned it earlier, and you might be like, what the hell is he talking about? I have some mini episodes that are exclusively posted on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So make sure you check those out. That is where I talk about recent doll releases and such, just so I can save time and jump right into my interview episodes. I'm not really active on YouTube, but I am working on it. So if you want a little extra content each month, definitely go check those out. Next week, I have Darren Sander on the show, and Darren was a big part in creating the Monster High dolls with his brother Garrett, who we recently just chatted with. He's also done a ton of other stuff in the doll world, and you guys are going to love it. This time, Darren is going to teach us all about Teen Queen maxi dolls from the 90s, and it's a really great chat, so definitely check that out next week. As always, please follow me on Instagram at iconicdollcast or Britney Spears Custom Dolls. You can follow me on YouTube at iconicdollcast or TikTok at Britney Spears Dolls, and I will talk with you guys next time.